In the UK, the sterling hit a 7-month high on Wednesday amid expectations that the upcoming general election will avoid a hung parliament. The British pound was up 0.3% against the US dollar this morning. Let's track the numbers with Juliana. Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon. Well, shares in packaging group DS Smith led the FTSE 100 fallers in the morning, despite reporting a 31% rise in interim reports. The pound has also continued to gain. Bring us up to speed with the numbers at the moment and the major drivers.
Okay, the FTSE is pretty much flat at intraday, Chimmy. The all-share is up 0.04%. The FTSE 100 is down 0.02%, and the FTSE 250 is up 0.16%. As you said, sterling still riding high against the dollar in particular, up 0.24% on the dollar, up on the euro by 0.14%, and up on the Japanese yen by 0.29%. That sentiment that next week, Thursday, it could be a victory for the Conservatives is really pushing market sentiment. You mentioned DS Smith being one of the biggest fallers. On the flip side, one of the biggest rises on the FTSE today is Aston Martin. Their shares are up 8%, which is very good for the luxury car maker because they have struggled recently, but apparently there could be a big market share buyout by a billionaire Brit, and if that takes place, that will really inject some much needed life into the auto car maker.
Now, how is Metrobank shares doing at the moment after the announcement that Craig Donaldson is leaving as the chief executive?
Well, under Craig Donaldson, the former CEO's tenure, Metrobank have lost shares to the tune of 90%. So the value of the company has gone down that far, which is why when their shares rose at 1.5% under his announcement, you could really put the two and two together. It's been a terrible year for Metrobank, and I'm sure they'd rather we ring in January sooner rather than later. Not only in Q3 did they see their profits slip by 2.2 billion pounds. They've also They've also under a very serious investigation for an accountancy error, which cost them 900 million pounds, and that's still going on. Of course, we know that their founder Vernon Hill announced that he was stepping down a couple of months ago, and yes, Donaldson, you know, after being in the company for 10 years, said he will be leaving by the end of January, and you know, Metro shares rose 1.5%. So perhaps shareholders feel that's exactly the way they need to go. Get out all of the old and get some new, fresh face and fresh minds in.
All right, Juliana, you talked about the luxury car maker. Now, there seemed to be good news in the new car registration data out today from the SMMT. UK demand for greener cars has risen. Are you planning to ride an electric car anytime soon, or you have one already?
Jimmy, I don't have an electric car, and the average cost of an electric car in the UK is about £25,000, which compared to some other cars isn't that expensive, but I won't be buying any one soon. But, you know, I'm not in good company because it does appear that electric cars, this very niche market, is on the rise in the UK. That's according to some data that's out today. In November, the increase in sales was over 200% if you compare it to this time last year. And over the past 12 months, there has been an increase of about 20,000 electric vehicles. So this is fabulous news, especially considering we are pushing towards zero emissions, and we know just how much polluting cars are. But of course, there is a negative side to this because year on year, car sales in the UK are down by 100,000. So 100,000 people less were buying cars this year compared to last year, which isn't good. The UK car production industry is really suffering, and it's not just because of the political crisis, it's because of growth around the world and the sentiment. People are staying with their cars for longer, but of course, any good data is good news. So the fact that more people are investing in electric cars is good. I might follow suit.
All right, well, I guess greener energy cars is where the world is going to. Thank you, Juliana. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.